And that was, قال إبراهيم فإن الله يأتي بالشمس من المشرق فأتي بها من المغرب. If you claim you are the Lord and you give life and death, you have the control of everything. Allah is the one who brings the sun from the east. Why don't you bring it from the west? If you feel that you control everything, bring the sun from the west. And this is another sign that this king Namrud was so dumb and so unintelligent that he could have in response said, I am the one taking it out from the east too. But second question, he lost it and he said, فَبُهِتَ الَّذِي كَفَرَ. Allah says, فَبُهِتَ الَّذِي كَفَرَ, that this kafir was dumbfounded. He did not know what to say. And it was so simple. Just like he said it before, أَنَا أُحْيِي وَأُمِيتُ, I'm the one who gives life and death. He could have said the same thing this time, but he could not handle these questions and he had to give up and say that, I can't, nothing to say. And he lost. وَاللَّهُ لَا يَهْدِي الْقَوْمَ الظَّالِمِينَ. Allah does not guide the wrongdoers. One hadith also mentions about this incident with Namrud and Ibrahim alayhi salam, that at this occasion, at this debate while it was taking place, Namrud called two people from the prison also. And these two people, one was a person the judgment was made that he has to be killed. And the other one, a judgment was made that he will be let free. He called these two people from the prison. And the one who was supposed to be killed, he let him free. And the one who was supposed to be let free, he killed him. The opposite. And then he said to Ibrahim, Namrud said to Ibrahim, see, I gave life to the one who was supposed to die. I gave him life. He is able to live. And the one who was supposed to live, I gave him death. So I'm the one who's giving life and death. So Ibrahim alayhi salam, of course, with this whole thing that, this is something like a small child would say, because anyone can understand that anyone can kill someone with any weapon, and this is not called giving death to someone. And anyone that lets someone that is supposed to be killed, let him live, is not called giving life to someone. This is not called giving life and death to someone, that changing his judgment and doing the opposite. So of course Ibrahim alayhi salam realized that this town, the king and the people of this town are not understanding, they're not believing in the oneness of Allah. Now Ibrahim alayhi salam planned to do the hijrah, migrate from this town and move to another town, because he lost hope in this town. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentions that in this town, only one person had accepted Iman. This whole town, this town of Babel that he was living in. This town of Babel, which was in Iraq somewhere, where Ibrahim alayhi salam was born and he lived, only one person accepted Iman. You know who that was? Only one person accepted Iman in this town of Babel. His name was Lut alayhi salam, who was also Ibrahim alayhi salam's nephew. So Ibrahim alayhi salam, he does his hijrah and he takes his nephew Lut alayhi salam along with him. The hadith mentioned that there was one more person with Ibrahim alayhi salam in this hijrah. Ibrahim alayhi salam himself, Lut alayhi salam, his nephew, and a third person who was his wife, Sarah alayhi salam. They all three left this town of Babel and they were now doing hijrah to another place. Where were they doing hijrah to? There are two opinions. Some scholars say that they were going towards Mecca and they were doing hijrah towards Mecca. And majority of the scholars are of this opinion that they were doing hijrah towards Baytul Maqdis, Palestine. On their way, while they were traveling, Ibrahim alayhi salam, Lut alayhi salam, and his wife Sarah and Ibrahim alayhi salam's wife Sarah alayhi salam, they were all traveling. On the way, there was a town called Sodom. Lut alayhi salam decided to stay there. Ibrahim alayhi salam also advised him that you can stay in this town and do the da'wah, call people towards the oneness of Allah in this town. So Lut alayhi salam stayed in Sodom. Now Ibrahim alayhi salam and Sarah alayhi salam continued their journey towards Baytul Maqdis, towards Palestine. On the way, they passed by Egypt. And the king of Egypt had a rule that anyone that comes into his territory, in his country, wherever he was ruling in his territory, that if anyone is coming, any woman that was coming, if she is a beautiful woman, she would be captured and brought to the king. And the king would do whatever he had to do dhulm and do zina, whatever he would do. And this was the rule. When Ibrahim alayhi salam was traveling with Sarah alayhi salam, the people, they came to Ibrahim alayhi salam to take Sarah alayhi salam to the king. This king also had another rule, that if that person says that the woman with him is his daughter or his relative, then don't capture that woman. If it's his sister, if it's his wife, then only capture that woman. So Ibrahim alayhi salam said to those people that came that, this is my sister. Hada ukhti, hadi ukhti, this is my sister. Because if he would say this is my sister, they should not be taking this woman. Because that was a rule. If anyone that was a sister, she would not be captured. Only the wife was to be captured. And those people still, while Ibrahim alayhi salam was saying, Hadi ukht, this is my sister, they still took his wife to the king. The ahadith, we read this hadith before too, that Ibrahim alayhi salam never lied in his entire life except for 3 times, 3 places. One was when the people were going out of town for a celebration, and they asked Ibrahim alayhi salam to come along, and Ibrahim alayhi salam did not want to go, so he said, Inni saqim, that I'm feeling sick. This was the first time he lied. And number 2, when he broke the idols, and when the people asked him who broke these idols, he said, Bal fa'alahu kabiruhum, that the big idol is the one who broke the idols, the other small ones. This was 2. And the 3rd time when Ibrahim alayhi salam lied was at this time, when he said about his wife that Hadi ukhti, this is my sister. And of course, this is if we look at it just the way it is, it seems like it's a lie. But of course, all of these 3 situations, the scholar said that Ibrahim alayhi salam did not really lie. He meant something different. For example, when he said Hadi ukhti, this is my sister, it was either he meant sister in Islam, and of course every Muslim is our brothers and sisters, or some scholars say that Hadi ukhti, this is my sister, meant that from the children of Adam alayhi salam, we are brothers and sisters. Everyone's father is Adam alayhi salam, and everyone's mother is Hawa alayhi salam. So everyone is brother and sister in that sense too. So even non-Muslims, they are in a way brother and sisters. So Ibrahim alayhi salam did not lie in these, he meant something different. This is just like, when Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, when he was doing hijrah with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam from Mecca to Medina, and there was a prize set that whoever will find Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and bring him, he will be given 100 camels. And people were going all, and he knew Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. So he asked Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, who is this person with you? He did not know Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, but he knew Abu Bakr, so he asked him, who is this person with you that time? So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, what did he say? Hadi qa'id. Guides me to the right, it guides me to the path. And the person thought that this is, a guide that Abu Bakr was taking along for the journey. But Abu Bakr meant the guide in Hidayah in Islam. So this is using words in a way that the other person understands it differently. So Ibrahim alayhi salam did the very same thing. The words he used, the sentences he used, that person, it seems like he was lying. It seems like it was lying, but he meant something different. Anyways, when these people forcefully took Sarah alayhi salam away from Ibrahim alayhi salam, and they took her to the king, Namrud. When Namrud saw her, he fell he fell in love with Sarah alayhi salam. And the hadith mentioned that right away he jumped on Sarah alayhi salam, trying to grab her. But Sarah alayhi salam right away made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, protect me. Give me protection. And right away, that King Namrud, he started to sink into the ground. He was sinking. When this King Namrud, he realized that he's not able to get close to Sarah alayhi salam, he begged Sarah alayhi salam, you made dua against me, can you make dua? I will not do anything to you. Just make dua to Allah that He protects me, He takes me out of the situation. I swear I will not do anything. And of course, Sarah alayhi salam made another dua for protecting Namrud, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved Namrud from sinking into the ground. But Namrud did not give up, and again, as he was freed and he was not into the ground, he again went towards Sarah alayhi salam. Again, Sarah alayhi salam made dua, and Namrud started sinking. Second time, same thing happened. And Namrud again begged Sarah alayhi salam that, can you make dua again one more time? I will swear I will not do it again. And Namrud again, he was protected. For the next time, he did the very same thing. Now, when Sarah alayhi salam made dua, that Ya Allah, protect me, and Namrud for the third time is sinking, he takes promise and he takes an oath, and he swears that this time, final time, I will not do anything. Make one last dua for me. And Sarah alayhi salam made dua. And now Namrud realized that he's not able to do any harm to Sarah alayhi salam. So he lets her free and he gifts her Hajra alayhi salam. Who was Hajra alayhi salam? Some scholars say that she was the daughter of Namrud. But this is not the preferred opinion. The preferred opinion is that she was someone from a noble family. She was a very respectful, someone from a noble family, and he gave her, because he was a king, he couldn't make anyone slaves, and so he took this woman, Hajar alayhi salam, and he made her into a slave and gave it to Sarah alayhi salam. This whole time, as Sarah alayhi salam is taken to the king, Ibrahim alayhi salam, of course, he is not there, and he's worried of what's going to happen. And the whole time, hadith mentioned that the whole time Ibrahim alayhi salam is in dua and he's in salah, he's praying. Even when Sarah alayhi salam now finally returns back to Ibrahim alayhi salam, she finds him in salah. Ibrahim alayhi salam saw that his wife Sarah alayhi salam has returned, and he's in salah. He did not want to break the salah. So during the salah, he's asking her, in expression, face expression, hand expression. He's not able to talk, but in different ways, he's asking her that, what did the king do? What happened to you? And Sarah alayhi salam, while Ibrahim alayhi salam is praying, she is saying to him that Allah protected me and no harm had happened to me. And Allah, and this king also gifted me Hajar alayhi salam. Anyways, now when Sarah alayhi salam returns back with Hajar alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam, with both of them, continue their hijrah, they continue their journey, and they go towards Baytul Maqdis, Palestine. On their way, Ibrahim alayhi salam now was informed that Lut alayhi salam, who was in Sodom, who was left behind in Sodom, he has been captured by the people.
I have one question. So, at the very beginning, the city was the bubble, right? So, there's the king of Namrud, right? So, when they go to the Egypt, there's also same king.
Yes, this is the preferred opinion, that he was also ruling this area too. And like we read before, Namrud was a king who ruled most part of the world. We read last week, I think it was last week or the week before, that there were 4 people who ruled most of the world, or almost the entire world. 2 were from the Muslims and 2 were from the non-Muslims. Namrud was one of those who ruled majority of the world. So this is one of the opinions, that he was the one who's ruling this area too. And this was the Egypt area. So Iraq, Egypt, all of this was under his rulership. Anyway, so when Ibrahim alayhi salam was informed that Lut alayhi salam, who was in Sodom, he was informed that Lut alayhi salam has been captured and he's put in prison. for inviting people towards the oneness of Allah. So Ibrahim alayhi salam took some people, he got some help from the local people, and about 313 people, the same amount of people that were in Battle of Badr with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Ghazwa Badr. 313 people with Ibrahim alayhi salam, they went to Sadum where Lut alayhi salam was, and they freed Lut alayhi salam from the prison. And then Ibrahim alayhi salam then continued back towards Palestine, continued his hijrah. Some scholars are of this opinion also that after Ibrahim alayhi salam reached Baytul Maqdis area, Palestine area, he's the one who built the Baytul Maqdis. That Baytul Maqdis was first built by Ibrahim alayhi salam. So Ibrahim alayhi salam had this honor of building Baytul Maqdis and as well as the Kaaba, the two most holiest masjids in the world. When Ibrahim alayhi salam, he was married to Sarah alayhi salam, they were not having children. Ibrahim alayhi salam made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rabbi habli min as-salihin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this dua in Quran. Rabbi habli min as-salihin. He said, "Oh my Rabb, bless me with a righteous children." You know, this is a lesson that we learned. So a lot of times people, they make dua for children, but they forget to add this word pious in their dua. Ya Allah, bless me with pious children. This is the dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Rabbi habli min as-salihin. Bless me with pious children, with righteous children. And of course, this is the only time when the children will become of benefit to the parents if they are pious. They will be the ones who are making dua for the parents, the ones who will be helping the parents. And here we see, in the non-Muslims, when the parents get old, they're dropped off to the old age homes, unfortunately. So if the children are righteous, they're pious, there will be the one who will be benefiting the parents in this dunya as well as for the akhirah too. So when Ibrahim alayhi salam was not having children with Sarah alayhi salam, and at this time his age is about 86 years old. Sarah alayhi salam gifted Hajra alayhi salam to Ibrahim alayhi salam that this is mine. Hajra alayhi salam was gifted to me, but you can have it and marry Hajra alayhi salam so you may have children with her. Ibrahim alayhi salam of course wanted children, and he had made dua already, Rabbi habli min as-salihin. So now he married Hajra alayhi salam, and from Hajra alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Ibrahim alayhi salam a good news of a child. فَبَشَّرْنَاهُ بِغُلَامٍ حَلِيمٍ. Allah says that we gave Ibrahim alayhi salam the good news of a forbearing son. And now, though Sarah alayhi salam was the one who gifted Hajra alayhi salam to Ibrahim alayhi salam so that Ibrahim alayhi salam can have children, but now Hajra alayhi salam became a co-wife. And now we know what happens. Whenever there is a co-wife, the things change. Sarah alayhi salam started to have hatred from Hajra alayhi salam. Especially after Hajra alayhi salam was expecting, she was pregnant, Sarah alayhi salam was very much jealous of Hajra alayhi salam, and constantly they were having arguments and fights. Hajra alayhi salam decided to leave this town, and she went out of town. She found some water fountain, somewhere, a place where there was water, and she went over there and she started staying there. A hadith mentioned that an angel was sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Hajra alayhi salam to give her comfort and tell her that, the child that you will be giving birth to will become a great person, will become a leader after he grows up. And this angel also gave the name Ismail to the mother, that after your child is born, name him Ismail. And at this time, Hajra alayhi salam was feeling comfort, and she was okay, and now she decided to come back home. She comes back home. Of course, the situations were not okay at home. Sarah alayhi salam was still always trying to do some harm to Hajar alayhi salam. One day, Sarah alayhi salam, she said, she took an oath, Wallahi, I swear by Allah, I will cut off 3 body parts of Hajar alayhi salam. And she takes an oath. And of course, we know when someone takes an oath, to break an oath is also a sin. Now she's stuck in a situation that she fulfills that oath, is also not good. Breaking that oath is also not good. So Ibrahim alayhi salam gives her a suggestion, and he says to her that why don't you make a hole into both of her ears and in her nose, ear piercing. It was not something common in those times. The scholars mention that the first time this ear piercing was invented was at this time. Ibrahim alayhi salam had given this idea to Sarah alayhi salam that since you have to cut her 3 body parts, you can just do this and your oath will not break. So, amazingly, we find in the history that there were so many different things that were first ever done by the family of Ibrahim alayhi salam. For example, this ear piercing is one of those. Was first ever done by Hajar alayhi salam. And nose piercing, both. And also we find that khatna was first ever done by Ibrahim alayhi salam. Also we find in the hadith that the first time ever for a person to have white hair was Ibrahim alayhi salam. No one ever had white hair before this. People were living thousands of years, but with all black hair. Nowadays with 20, 30 years of age, we'll start losing black hair. But Ibrahim alayhi salam was the first person to ever have white hair. And there were so many other things that were first ever done with Ibrahim alayhi salam and his wife. Anyways, as we learned that Ibrahim alayhi salam wanted children, and finally he was given a good news of a child from Hajar alayhi salam. And because of this, Sarah alayhi salam and Hajar alayhi salam were not able to live together. Situations became such that Ibrahim alayhi salam decided to take Hajar alayhi salam far away to another place. And now Ibrahim alayhi salam made dua to Allah, where should he take Hajar alayhi salam? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded him that take him to a desert land of Mecca. At that time it was not a Mecca, it was just a desert land. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just told him that take Hajar alayhi salam and your son Ismail alayhi salam to a far place, a desert land. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was guiding them of where to go. And they just kept on walking and walking. And finally, when they reached that area of Mecca, where the Kaaba is, that is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, okay, now here, leave your wife and your son Ismail alayhi salam, and you go back. Ibrahim alayhi salam left his wife Hajar alayhi salam and his son Ismail alayhi salam in that area by the Kaaba. And he started walking back. Until this point, Ibrahim alayhi salam had not informed Hajar alayhi salam of what was happening, that he was taking them to a desert land and leaving. Hajar alayhi salam did not know this. She was unaware of what's happening. When Ibrahim alayhi salam started walking back alone, leaving the wife and the son Ismail alayhi salam alone in the desert, she started screaming and she started saying, "Oh Ibrahim, where are you going? Why are you leaving us here?" And Ibrahim alayhi salam stayed quiet, did not respond. Finally, the scholars mentioned that when Ibrahim alayhi salam reached the graveyard area, Jannatul Mu'alla in Mecca, the graveyard area, when he got to that area, that is when Hajar alayhi salam asked one question, Allahu amaraka bihada, did Allah command you to do this, to leave us here? At that time, Allah allowed Ibrahim alayhi salam to respond, and Ibrahim alayhi salam responded, yes, Allah is the one who told me to leave you here. At that point, Hajar alayhi salam then said, إِذَنْ لَا يُضَيِّعُنَا. In this case, Allah will not waste us. Allah will not destroy us. Allah will take care of us. And the hadith mentioned that Hajar alayhi salam also recited that same dua which Ibrahim alayhi salam recited while he was being thrown into the fire. I'm sure we all learned that dua, so I won't remind you of that dua. Right? Everyone knows that dua that Ibrahim alayhi salam recited while he was being thrown into the fire. This is the same dua Hajar alayhi salam is reciting at this time. Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakeel. Again, a very powerful dua like we mentioned earlier, and so many different incidents in the history we find that people recited and Allah's help came to those people. Anyways, Ibrahim alayhi salam now leaves Hajar alayhi salam and Ismail alayhi salam, and he returns back. The question here now would be, how did Hajar alayhi salam and this baby Ismail alayhi salam survive in this desert where there was no person, no growth, nothing in that, just a plain desert, not even water there. There was no Zamzam at that point. How did they survive? Inshallah, we'll continue with that next week. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. Just a quick reminder, next week inshallah we'll have the halaqah. The week after, 2 weeks from now, we'll be on Wednesday, same time after Asr. We're having a special guest, Hazrat Maulana Ibrahim Pandur, who's from South Africa, who's also the Khalifa of Shaykh al-Hadith Maulana Zakariya rahimahullah. He'll be visiting Buffalo for a day, and that day happens to be September 27th on Wednesday. So 2 weeks from now, inshallah, they will be visiting him and another scholar from India, from Kashmir, Maulana Rahmatullah Kashmiri. They will be visiting, inshallah, after Asr on Wednesday, on September 27th, they will be giving a lecture, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.